Hello and welcome to the Real Estate Regroup Show. I am your host, LJ Walker, a real estate investor helping you realize your dreams of owning a home or investing in one. So I got a question from one of the subscribers regarding the quitclaim deed that was on the Havenhurst house. And I realized, you know what? I did not really dedicate a video to Havenhurst. So I did some digging and I realized, you know what? I'm going to have to make this a two-parter. All right. Because what I want to do is I want to go over the history of what's been happening at the Havenhurst house. I know those of you who are Michael Jackson fans, you already know a lot of this stuff. But even though I'm a Michael Jackson fan, there were things that I discovered. But as usual, I'm not just going to tell you what happened. I'm also going to give you my real estate opinion, add my real estate knowledge to everything that has transpired. All right. So let's get into it. The Havenhurst property was bought by Joe Jackson back in, some reports say 1969, others say 1971. Right? So this property, it is a 5-bedroom. Well, it started off as a 5-bedroom, 7-bathroom home. But later on, as years go by, they've definitely remodeled it. They added another story. They have 3 stores, a candy shop, a puppet shop, ice cream, movie theater, and a beautiful pond. Many of you who've actually been there, you've seen it, right? Okay. Well, there have been a time when Joe's finances actually fell. So Michael Jackson stepped in and he took 50% ownership of the property. So at that time, it was owned by Michael, 50%, and his parents owned the other 50%. They owned it as joint tenants. What does that mean? That means that they had equal ownership and rights of survivorship. So if one person passes away, that share would go to the other surviving owners. All right. So now, back in 1994 was the Northridge earthquake. That shook Joe up enough where he left. And he actually bought another place in Las Vegas, Nevada. All right. Northridge earthquake in California back then, it caused significant damage across the whole entire area, damaging a lot of homes and infrastructure. To tell you the truth, all of them had to leave the house in order for it to be repaired at that particular time. And let me just get into a little bit about earthquakes so that you can understand, make some understanding, because all of us have not experienced earthquakes at all. Okay. And some of us who have, not as much as what they have out there in California. All right. With earthquakes, they can actually mess up the foundation, causing cracks and shifting of the home, right? Which makes the home unstable and unsafe to stay in. It can cause structural damage, particularly to the load-bearing walls and the beams that actually are holding the house up. And, once that is messed up, that actually weakens the structure and the integrity. Okay. And of course, we all know, common sense, roof damage, right? Then, cracked walls and ceilings. It can mess with the plumbing and the gas line. Okay. Very, very, very dangerous if it does that, because those leaks can cause explosions eventually. And then, not to mention, It can damage electrical wiring, shortening the circuits, which is a fire hazard. Okay. And then sometimes there's broken windows and doors, chimney, and the fireplace. So that house has all of the above. Okay. I've seen pictures of it, which I'll put up. They had to move out. There was no question regarding this. Okay. Now they moved temporarily to a place before moving back in. Joe did move back in, but not right away. He stayed in Vegas. And I kind of understand because, after you experience something that really shakes you up, and then remember, he was of a particular age. He was already a senior citizen at that particular time. So he was like, you know what, I'm not really here for the drama. But I believe that he came back for the kids, MJ, as you know, he died in 2009, right? And then at that time, from what I can see, his entire estate, as you know, was put into the Michael Jackson Family Trust. The beneficiaries of this trust was his mother and his 3 kids, as well as charities. Now, later on, it shows that in 2011, the house was actually listed for sale. However, it didn't sell. It didn't go through. It actually remained in the family, and it's still in the family to this day. The estate, Michael Jackson's estate, did not want to sell that property. The will gave the executors board's power of sale with no exception for the specific asset in question. The mother, actually, Catherine, she did negotiate with the estate and bought another home with Michael Jackson's money, the money that was there. Okay, so now fast forward to the question in hand. There was a quit claim that was created by Howard Mann. He is Catherine Jackson's manager, where this quitclaim deed transferred the property from Michael Jackson to Catherine Jackson. And this was done when? In 2016. So I was like, So I looked into it a little bit. But let me go back and let you know what a quitclaim deed is, for those of you who are not familiar. A quitclaim deed transfers property to someone without conducting a traditional sale. A quitclaim deed occurs without title searches or title insurance. So there's really no guarantee that the owner actually owns the property that they're transferring at all. Right? And so I was like, this is very interesting. Why did the county record this deed? I really feel like the county was paid off because I'm into mortgage notes. This is what I do. And if there's anything wrong, they penalize you if you don't have 3 inches from the top and 1 inch from the side as far as margins is concerned on the paper. So how in the world is it that they let this deed get recorded knowing in 2016, knowing that Michael Jackson died in 2009? Now, the other thing is this. Catherine Jackson, I don't even think it's apparent that she didn't even know that was happening. But you know what? This is how I feel about Howard Mann. I think Howard Mann does love the Jacksons. I believe he loves Catherine. But he sees where he doesn't feel as though the estate cares about the family. And he doesn't necessarily like how they're doing things and how they're managing things. So that's why he did what he did. So he has his heart in the right place, but I don't think he executed. I don't think that this was the right thing to do. I think that the way he executed it was wrong. The other thing too is I saw the deed. The other things that jumped out at me is that in this deed, it said mother, Catherine Jackson, and then it said the kids. Normally, deeds don't really do that. Normally, it just says Catherine Jackson. Like, it would just say her name, and then it would just say the kid's name. It wouldn't say mother, and then kids in front of it. That's another thing that jumped up at me. Then, the deed was not signed. That's another reason why I'm like, why did they record this deed? It doesn't make sense. Why did the LA County let this thing go through? Okay. And then at the bottom of the deed, it said see exhibit, yet there was no exhibit. Again, why did LA County record this deed? This next page was an actual attachment, and it was an acknowledgement that just says Catherine appeared before a notary, and she did sign that. But signing the acknowledgement is not the same as signing a deed. That's why I think that this is so crazy. What it looks like to me, honestly, it looks like Howard took another contract that Catherine had signed and put it with this contract and then handed it to LA. And I think, I'm not sure, but it is possible that he must have paid somebody at that county, because there's no way in the world that deed should have been recorded. It's one thing to present a deed to the county, but it's another thing for them to actually record it. So whoever did that, I think they got paid under the table, and they should be fired. They should be fired, because that's not how things are done. And if they are doing something like that, that also is why people's homes are being stolen in California. Like, it's a problem. It's a big problem out there. Deed fraud. Because somebody that's working in that office is getting paid under the table. I'm telling you. All right. But anyway, the estate did find out, Michael Jackson's estate found out what he did. They went to court and they filed a lawsuit to nullify the fraud deed and put the ownership back into the estate. And the estate won. Okay. So I wanted to, clarify that as much as I possibly can. So basically, yes, another deed fraud, unfortunately, is what occurred. The other thing that I noticed too is with this fake deed, he didn't even put the father's name, and he was the one that originally bought it. Now, granted, yeah, I understand. Joe moved out again, and I don't even believe he died in the Havenhurst house. I believe he died out in Vegas back in 2018. But still, his name should have been, if you're going to do something like that and leave him out, I think that that's kind of cold. But anyway, guys, so that is the situation at hand. It is all resolved now, thank God. But please, you definitely want to hear my part 2 of the history of Havenhurst, because I'm going to delve into some serious topics that need to be addressed, that everybody, no matter where you are, no matter who you are, you need to take a listen. All right, guys, so that's all I have for you. Hopefully the information will help you make smart financial moves. Feel free to pass this amongst your friends. Remember, each one, reach one, teach one. Bye for now. Until next time, have a good night.